What's happening, champions? Today we find out what the biggest obstacle is between you and your goal. So if you're anything like any normal person, you'll have a tendency that when things go wrong, when things don't quite go your way, when there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be, and you don't quite live up to your own standard or somebody else's standard that's been set for you, you tend to shove off the blame and the responsibility to the environment, to people around you, to everything else but yourself. Now, if you've spent any amount of time in personal development, you'll know that one of the key principles is to always take responsibility for everything that happens in your life. And of course, this helps you take control of your destiny and move towards your passion and your path and fight the fight and live your dream and do what you're supposed to do each and every day in spite of everything that's happening around you. However, there's one fundamental flaw with both of these philosophies. Of course, if you are on the brink of suicide or deep depression, if you're experiencing anxiety, blaming yourself and taking self-responsibility is not really going to help much at all, because you're just going to feel even worse about yourself. On the other hand, when you're working hard and you're pushing to live your dream and do what you're supposed to do, taking less responsibility and shoving off the blame to somebody else doesn't really help you make any progress either. But the real truth is somewhere in the middle. The real truth is that it's a little bit of both. In fact, the beliefs that you have, the values, the story that you're telling yourself each and every day, which affects your performance and affects what you're able to achieve and where you get stopped in your tracks and you feel like you can't move forward, is really determined largely by the environment that you're brought up in, by some of the experiences that you go through, by the people that you hang around, by the job that you stay at for 15 years, or even by some of the friends that you just spend time with on a daily basis. It could be family, anybody that really is part of your life in a large context is very likely to influence the way that you see yourself and the way that you see the world. So of course, it's very, very important to take a look at the people around you and really examine whether or not they're positive and helping you move towards where you want to go, or whether you need to find some new people and a new crowd to hang with. But even more important than that is to check out your story that you're telling yourself. This is the obstacle between you and your goal. You have some pattern that's running in there. It could be, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I don't have it in me, I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I don't have the qualifications, I'm overqualified. It could be anything. But when you have a goal and you're struggling to reach it, it's always going to be some limiting beliefs, some limiting story that's keeping you from making that breakthrough and taking your progress to the kind of level that you really want to experience. So your job is to find that story, hunt it down, figure out what's going on in your head that's stopping you, that's blocking you, that's keeping you from living up to your potential and doing what you really want in your life. Because you can't let this little tiny story, this little tiny idea of yourself determine whether or not you're able to have what you want in your life. When you take control of that story, when you tell yourself a different story, things begin to change. There is a major shift that happens the moment that you realize what you've been telling yourself for all these years or all these months or even the last few days. If you're trying to get to somewhere, if you have a goal that you want to accomplish, it is absolutely crucial, vital, essential, and fundamental that you look at what's going on. What are you telling yourself? I remember having an idea about myself along the lines of that I don't have it in me, I'm not capable, I'm not old enough, I really don't have the skills, I just don't have anything of value to give to people. And when I changed that and made the decision and said, you know what, I do have something. I have something to offer that's of value. I can help people, I can impact their lives. I have a gift that I want to share. Things changed for me immediately. Drastic shifts, quantum leaps, literally in the next few weeks, in the next few months, in the next 2 years, 3 years, everything changed for me. But I had to change the story. I had to change the story that was in my mind, that was blocking me from elevating, that was blocking me from making the progress, that was stopping me and holding me back. So yes, you're holding yourself back. It's a result from all the pressure, all the shit that you've been told and brainwashed with. Of course it's gonna get to you, of course it's affecting you, but you can now make a decision and remove it. Are you telling yourself that you're just not that kind of person? That you aren't ready for it, that you don't have it in you, that it's just not part of who you are and you're never gonna be like that? Other people can do that, but it's just not for me. Or are you telling yourself that it's too late, that you missed your shot, that that opportunity, if you would have done this or that or the other, everything would have worked out just the right way, but that now it's too late and you can't do anything about it? Either way, I want you to demolish, destroy, and get rid of that belief, get rid of that story, and replace it with something else, something that empowers you, a story that helps you move forward, a story that makes you feel amazing about who you are and what you have to offer. And whatever your dream is, whatever you want in your life will become that much more attainable the moment that you tell yourself that you are worthy of it. Because the thoughts that we think on a daily basis are what create our realities. The day that we live is largely structured in our mind previously, before we ever actually experience it. There's a certain vibrational frequency to your thoughts, and our whole world, our whole universe is made up of vibrations. Now get rid of that old story, replace it with a new one, and feel the difference in yourself that it will make instantly. But what's also very important is to keep that story fed, keep it going, repeat it to yourself day in and day out. Because of course, if you've been walking around with a different story your whole life for 25, 40, 50, 60 years, it's gonna be really, really tough to reprogram it. However, it's still possible, and don't make the excuse that it's too late, because it's never, ever too late to make a change, make a shift, and move forward in your life. Change that story to something good. Change that story to something that empowers you. Share the story that you're going to be telling yourself with us in the comments below. I read every single comment and I always reply. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you champions on the next one. Peace.